I think the act of collecting, the actual process of acquiring an object doesn't really fulfill myself. I want to go beyond. And my way of collecting is political exercise, and I have a social responsibility in that ecosystem. Hola, soy Benedicta, but they call me Bene. And I am considered by the art market as an art collector, but actually I don't believe I am. I am consider myself more of an art advocate. Art is the love of my life, actually. Since I was very, very little, I spent hours and hours looking at art books. And I always wanted to study art theory or art history, and that's what I did study. And I worked all my life in the art business, so I've done everything you can imagine, from stretching canvases, receiving containers, translating, everything. I worked for galleries, I worked for art fairs, I worked for museums. And slowly I started buying art, and around 7 years ago, through different processes that I went through in life, I realized that a collection can tell a story. What I've been doing is trying to look for ways of supporting the art world, but really on the ground. Artistic practices that are not connected to materiality are also making a huge impact in society, especially socially engaged art platforms led by artists that are really on the ground. It is very hard to change the mind of thinking, if I buy an object, something is kept for me. But I'm actually more and more interested in those kind of artistic practices. So as a collector, I actually engage with young galleries emerging in emerging markets, but that are actually a very special kind of a gallery. They almost are a gallery / cultural center, safe haven, where there's peer reviews between artists. And those kind of galleries oftentimes are in places where there's no infrastructure, there's no healthcare, there's no pension plans. So one of the subject matters I really are trying to investigate is how any kind of action, philanthropy a collector does, we actually pay for a lot of things, we support a lot of things. How does those actions actually verify how the well-being and the rights of these communities? I actually approached Delfina Foundation and got accepted into the residency. I'm doing my residency in Delfina this week because I really wanted to reflect on my own practice as a collector. And this is actually the only place in the world who does it. And so I came to Delfina to analyze and to look at new models of management, new hybrid ways of commercializing art, and to study what is it that we're doing, how are we doing it, and what is the impact in the economic resilience of these areas of the world. And that one me encanta.
Yes.
Okay, me encanta. Done?